Welcome to Studio Time, a new series that takes you behind the scenes, that lets you see the good, the bad, the ugly, the experiments, the exploration, and a chance to get ideas of how and why I create and what's in progress, and hopefully gives you inspiration along the way. Well, hello loves, and happy Sunday to you, and happy Studio Time. To Studio Time, I'm taking you in. And we are experimenting today, or I am experimenting today in this video. Throughout the week, usually, day by day, I take time to either do my daily practice or explore products or try new ideas or just get in here and experiment and play. And every experiment leads me to something new. And that's how I get ideas, that's how I get unstuck, that's what helps me move through a project or get ideas for workshops, all of that. And so I just wanted to bring you into the studio and into the mess and let you see what goes on a daily basis in here like mad scientist. And so I hope that you enjoy the process. The link to the supplies that I use will be down below in the YouTube description box. I'm so grateful that you're here. So let's go take a journey in my studio. I hope your Sunday is restful and peaceful, and I hope that you always, always know that you are loved. Okay, experimentation number 1 or 2 or 3. I did a whole bunch. These are Colorations color sticks. They're tempera paint sticks. And I've never worked with a tempera paint stick before. And so I really was getting my feel for them. And I've got just a scrap piece of paper out here. It doesn't have any gesso on it or anything. It's just a raw piece of paper. And I put my first few marks down and put some water down, thinking that they would react to the water. And I got a little bit of residual, but not a ton. They pretty much stayed in place. And I wanted to get all of these colors. This is a really neutral color palette for these color sticks. And then I also have the primary colors too. But you can see now I've got some water out here and it's not moving. It's not going anywhere. And I've even put a ton. And I get a little bit of residual, not a ton. So that's good to know for creating collage paper, because I could use these for making collage paper in this really simple, easy way, especially in this gorgeous color palette. So now this sheet is a piece of paper that has gesso on it. And you can see I'm bringing out the other crayons that I got. They weren't expensive, so I was willing to try. I'm always willing to try new things to see, how I can push them or how I can use them. And so they come out very creamy, like a paint. And so I wanted to try the primary colors and then this beautiful color palette. But you can see I'm smushing them around, and they smush really beautifully, and they mix really, really well together. But again, this is the non-porous surface. So I think that, is going to make a big difference in how I create with them. And I only would know that as if I were experimenting and trying and seeing, how I can use them, how I can push them, how I can integrate them into my toolbox of supplies. And I found that I really loved this color palette. And whether I use these or something else for this color palette, man, I love this color palette. And I end up doing another full sheet. You can see here now on the non-porous surface how water reactive they are. They don't fully, dissolve, but I get good residual. So almost like a watercolor or a water soluble stick, like Stabila Woody or anything else like that. Then I put some water down to see how, if I have water down on my surface and I put them into the water, what does that do? And it's really very much like a watercolor. So I could probably put a wet brush on the tip and use them like watercolor, which is kind of cool because I love this color palette and I don't have to think about, how to mix it or anything like that. And so I'm just loving my experimenting and that color palette. I love it. So I then pulled out a piece. This is in my redo pile that I want to paint over. And I thought, let me see what it looks like on the surface of, pattern or that kind of thing. And again, this is a non-porous surface and it's very, very light. And part of the reason is because this piece has been sealed. So it's a little bit smoother than just my regular matte medium. But it still came out real light versus it being on that stark white, which is okay. That's part of learning, about a supply. But it's very, very creamy and paint-like. So I thought, and it's kind of wet too. So I thought if I dried it, I put a little bit more down and I dried it to see, okay, maybe it becomes less water soluble if I dry it, get it nice and dry. And then I grabbed a paper clip and just scratched into it to see, and it of course picks up. It's very similar. It feels like a oil pastel, and yet it is water soluble. It's really interesting. So I use the black to, see, okay, make some marks real thick and see how that works. And then I gave it a dry, and then I put a light coat of matte medium over it, very light, and it stayed. It did, I got a little bit of residual going over it with some matte medium, but not a ton with my brush. And if I would have left it just like this and let it dry, it would have been fine. But I wanted to see, once I put my matte medium down, how much how much residual I could get if I picked up some of that matte medium. And I got a lot. A lot came up. So I need to just let it dry. But again, all of this is just information. And so the piece is still wet with matte medium. So I thought I'm going to put my stick right into the matte medium and then just let it be. And it would stay permanent. So good information for a project. And it really has a very paint-like feel. Then I did this sheet real fast of all the colors that I love out of that color palette. And it is so rich and creamy, and they blend. There's no water on it. It's just all smushed with my finger. It is gorgeous. So I'm happy with my experiments and what I've learned. And I have more to experiment with these crayons. But I'm happy with my purchase for what I paid for them. And I think there's a lot of opportunity to use them along with my other supplies and into like mediums or acrylics or inks and different things like that. So that's the next experiment. So while I set the others aside, I wanted to do a little bit more experimenting because then it got me thinking about water-soluble products. So I did another smush test of Stabilo All art crayon, another brand of art crayon, pastels, and I'm like taking notes as to what I'm doing. And I did the same color palette in the background, and you can see the difference between all three of them, which gives me, again, more information. And then while, those are dry, I'm pulling collage paper for 3 different experiments. I want to do a specific color palette, and then I want to do a neutral color palette, and then I want to do a colorful color palette. And so I did this teal, and I ended up doing this green, this like lime green or almost yellow or whatever I want to, whatever color that is. And I loved it. And every time I do something with these colors, I love it and I always forget. So I've got my 3 piles of collage paper out now, and I'm going to just go to town putting those down. And I'm trying not to think this is an experiment. And too often we get we get to thinking, okay, how can I, make this into something? And I don't want to think about that. I want to think about what, I just want to make the next decision. Like, what looks good? Does this look good together? Does this look good together? I'm not thinking about a finished piece. I'm not thinking about anything else but the experiment at hand and learning something new. And because the second I start to think, ooh, I can make this, something, everything changes and I get too serious about what I'm doing. So I'm going to just playfully put all of my papers down with my fluid map medium. So I've got all of my papers down, and now I'm going to put these on the floor and jump to another experiment with paper and learning and growing and all of those kinds of things. But I love what I've done so far with these. It was fun. There's lots of lessons in there. But now I've got some more collage paper out, and this is a lesson that I'm doing for the Mixed Media Insider membership. And again, we do an art challenge every month, and the art challenge is just what I'm doing with you today. It is exploring all things. It's looking at color and composition and playing and not having a finished product, but seeing what looks good, what doesn't, what's good contrast, what like can contrast be shapes, can it be light and dark, can it be color, how do I balance things out? All of those things are information, and they only come from when we let go of thinking about something being, a perfect project or something good to hang on the wall, and just let it be play, something we can stick in our journals and just appreciate the lesson that we've learned from them. Okay, I have my practices out here, and of the three, I like these two the best. I like how they look the best. When it comes to the actual products that I was testing and that kind of thing, like these are soft pastels. I love working with soft pastels, and I love how they smush around. I kind of already knew that. My art crayon was okay. It did some really good watering down, and I liked how it mixed with the black. And that was my Stabilo All pencil. It does a great job of kind of smushing around. And I'm working on a porous surface, and as you'll see in my other experiments, that the porous and non-porous can really make a difference, especially when it comes to water-soluble products. But I like working on a non-porous surface. I can still see the marks and still get color. And I liked this one. This was a Stabilo Woody and charcoal pencil. And so the Stabilo All gave me more of a watered down, softer look. The charcoal pencil is a little bit stronger, but both of them, I liked all of the things that I experimented with. But as far as composition goes, I like these two the best. And which is surprising because, and maybe it's because this background is so dark. And that's what the experiments and the practicing and all of those kinds of things that I'm doing does. It helps me notice. It helps me see what I like and what I don't like. It gives me ideas. There's invaluable information when we show up to experiment and play. And so I think because this background is so dark, that's why maybe I don't like this color, this one, as much as these. I have more white space and the collage paper show up more, whereas these kind of, they can kind of get lost, or maybe it's too busy. I've got too many, there's a lot of pattern on here too. So I have to decide why I'm not sure that I like this. And then what I will do with this is I will then come in and say, okay, why don't I like this one? Because it's all my favorite colors. And I will come in and then experiment with the experiment. So if I get more cream in here, will that make me happier? So if I just kind of put some down. And the problem with our experimenting is too often we get stuck in the thought that we have to create something great. And that's not what I'm aiming to do. So right away, I like that better. And of course, I don't like this like big swath down the middle. But still, I can kind of lighten up some areas. I can even like lighten this up. Maybe bring some of this up here and lighten that up. So that makes a difference for me, a huge difference. So those are the things that I now know as I create work, as I create art, that I need white space. And it doesn't have to be 100% white. It can be like this as it dries. It's just lighter. The marks are still available underneath. Or you can see the marks underneath, but I can lighten up some other areas to make it whiter. Hide some other areas. Maybe this is too busy. I want to examine all of those things. So this one I love. I love the composition of it. So with this, I have this here, and I have this over here. I have nothing really connecting the parts. And that's probably why I like this one the most, because I'm moving the eye from up here all the way down here and back up again. I'm moving the eye around. Plus I love, of course I love collage paper. And this one is kind of the same. I've connected the parts and I've brought them over versus having just this and this with collage paper. This is a great color palette, and I don't think often enough to use these colors together. But I love this. And so I will continue to experiment with these, just like I did with this. So then I will come back in now and like really lighten up some areas to see, okay, do I really want a lot of light areas? Do I need to lighten some up here? Do I need to bring more collage paper? Like I said, do I even like this round thing? Do I want to square it off a little bit and hide it a little bit? You know, what do I want to do? And I'm willing to do that because this is practice, and this is the information I need for another project, for new inspiration, for new works of art or workshops or anything like that. This gives me information. And as I continue to test and work on these and, you know, see, okay, what do I like, what don't I like, I will either use these as collage paper, or I will use them, I'll, you know, maybe cut them up, or I'll cut them down and put them in a journal. So that I can then go back, I'll take notes, I'll go back and I'll say why I didn't really like this one first. You know, I'll write it down here, and how needing a light background, I'll write that information down so that then I can, as I am creating, you know, starting to create something and I need inspiration, I can come back to this and I go, oh yeah, okay. I need to maybe simplify, I need to connect, I need to look at the composition, I need more white space, etc., etc. Same thing with this one. I'll write, I love the color combination. And because I already know what I wrote down what I used, charcoal pencil and Stabilo Woody, I can come back to that now when I go to create something or play in my journal or whatever and create something similar. But I love these bursts of color, and I've moved them around successfully. I feel really good, like I've got good composition. Same with this one. I've got good composition here too. I've got light and light. This is high contrast, but different size contrast. So this here would be my focal area because it's got the highest contrast. The darkest dark and the lightest light. And so I can look at those kinds of things and go, okay, this composition I love. And I love the paper. Love. I love this one too. I love them all. Well, I'm loving this one more. So I can see me coming back in now with some collage paper, like even just grabbing another piece of like this right here. Because this kind of looks like a flower and it feels kind of weird. Maybe bringing a little bit of this over here and then maybe something different. And I tried to stick with color, you know, like this is teals and magentas and with a few other colors. But maybe I need to bring in a different color or more of a neutral to bridge the gap here. And see, that's already feeling better. So then I can, you know, try other things to see, you know, what makes it feel better for me. You may have liked the original, but for me, it didn't feel balanced. So that I like. So then I would do something like that. And then I would save this and use this as my inspiration. Okay, so good experiments today. And now I am off. I want to, where's my paper? Right here. I have another sheet of paper out that, because I loved this one so much, and I like the layout of it and that kind of thing, I want to play more now with neutrals. So I grabbed a stack of neutrals because it's something that I've been wanting to do and I just haven't done, and I want to do some art like that, but this is where it starts. My creative ideas always start here. So I brought out a ton of neutral papers, all from my stash of things. I always pull too many because I love paper. But you can see I've got lots of black and whites, lots of graphics. I've got old magazine pages, but all in neutrals. And so I want to take some time and play with that as well and see what I think. Working in that same composition style, this one, and create, it's almost like an H, but I kind of come over this way a little bit and over this way a little bit. So I like that composition style, and I'll start here thinking about this composition. But what ends up always happening is as I take this practice and then I practice some more, I get more ideas. I get like different thoughts about the papers and the colors that go together. Maybe I want a different background color than what I have here. Maybe I want a full blown background, and then I'll put my papers down. I experiment to experiment to experiment because that's where the creative flow is. That's where the ideas are. And that's where my confidence comes. Because I can say, you know what? I've already done this. I already know what these supplies feel like. I know how they work on porous and non-porous surface. I know that, etc., etc. So experimenting is so incredibly valuable. We always think that we need to have a finished product, and that is not the case. We need to just play. Okay, I am going to play some more and experiment some more, and we will see where that goes. Just a quick view of the chaos that has ensued in my studio before I dive into my other quick experiment. And I have paper everywhere, and it just makes me happy. Okay, I've got a black soft pastel and a Stabilo woody out here. And I am starting my project like I did the other ones. You just didn't see it. But this is exactly how I started. And right away, as I am doing my voiceover for this, I immediately recognize that I didn't leave myself white space. And I know that that's what I liked before. But right now, I'm not in that mindset. I'm just playing. I'm just having fun. And I'm liking, and I pulled out a brown soft pastel just for the heck of it, because I thought, well, you know what? And then I realized, well, darn it, I didn't create any white space. So I am creating my white space. And this is just cottage white acrylic paint and some gesso, and just messily creating some white space. And I didn't want it to feel too perfect, so I just pressed it out with a piece of copy paper to kind of lighten it up and make it feel a little grungy. And now I've got my collage papers out. I've just kind of torn bits and pieces of things that I like, and I want to put those down. now I'm just coming back in with a little bit of like a Titan buff and putting down some additional white. You can see I pulled up a little bit of the paint that's already down, and I kind of liked it. Those are one of those things that you're like, ooh, I need to do that again. But I'm just kind of lightening up certain areas to really bring out the contrast of the papers from the background. And then I don't want to do too much because I'm not trying to make this into something perfect. I'm just trying to learn. And so I grabbed a little bit of acrylic ink in raw umber and added that to give it a bit of a grungy feel. See what I think about that. And my paint's all wet. I'm working wet into wet. So it's kind of mixing with the white that's underneath. And I even have white on my brush. I'm working real fast. I'm not thinking too hard. And then I had a little bit of color left on my palette from another experiment that I was working on, and I decided to mix it in with some of the Titan buff color, and it made a really pretty green. And so I put a little bit of that down. I thought, oh, why not? It kind of feels like it's the patina from Rust. So I thought, I'm just going to do it. Why not? That's the thing that we have to say, why not? Because we always get information from it. And then this is the finished piece. And these are all of our wonderful experiments. I hope you enjoyed today's studio time and that you take time to experiment.